What's going on, guys? My name is Michael. We're going to do a quick video just in regards to a few of the products, an easy, simple installation, step by step. I'm going to go through. This is a custom 4.3, which we are going to jam pack full of red parts, which again, the red seems to be a theme. We've done rainbow, we've done the blue. I'm sure green's next, to be honest. We're just waiting a couple of parts to come through, but for now, we're going to do the red. Now, to start things off, as I said, we will be using a 4.3 slide. We're going to be using the red 4.3 Tornado 2-piece guide rod. We have an upgraded recoil spring. We have a red 4.3 guide plug as well. Red Tornado style outer barrel with our suppressor adapter on the front side. We do have our red hammer, which is 7075, which is amazing. All these parts are 7075. And we have our red beaver tail as well. We have a red extended slide catch, which is 2-piece, first in the world. Then we also have a red magwell. We have a red trigger. We've got our red rear sight as well. And then to top it off, we do have a nice set of red grip screws. We might build the upper first. It's pretty much already complete. I've already got the BBU in there with the nozzle and the upgraded nozzle spring. So the nozzle spring that is in there is a 180% nozzle spring. On the actual guide rod itself, we're going to run a 140% recoil spring. So nothing too crazy. So to gain access to your BBU, there is a 2.5mm hex head hanging in the backside here. So you will need to get yourself a 2.5, get your rear sight, you're just going to slide it in nice and again, just go ahead and tighten up this back hex head. Now to fasten the rear sight onto the actual slide itself, you are going to need a Phillips head screwdriver. What you will have is complete freedom of the actual nozzle itself. Then we're going to go ahead and just put our outer barrel in. And then another key tip with installing the guide rod and the guide rod plug, just squeeze it just like a syringe as so. Then what you're going to do is you're going to feed in, and then you're going to let that guide rod go, and then what you will have will be like so. So now that the upper is done, let's move on to the more trickier side of things, happening to be the lower itself. So bear with me, guys. I'm going to quickly pull apart a couple of things. I'll show you how to do it along the way. So starting with the lower itself, the first thing you're going to want to do is make sure that this hammer is actually reset. So you're going to make sure it's all the way forward. That way all the tension is off the hammer regulator that's in here, because if it's all the way back, for instance, so it's engaged, then what's going to happen is all the tension is going to be sitting in here. If you're going to take that off, things are going to fly out. You're going to lose things. So the easiest, most simplest way is obviously to just reset the hammer, and away you go. There'll be no stress here at all. Be able to punch this out and you'll be sweet. To get the magwell off, there is an actual fastening pin inside just here, as you can see. So you want to punch that out. Now, as I said, I'm going to go ahead now, I'm going to do that. But obviously, once you've punched out the pin like so, put it to the side and save it for another day. Now, again, as I said, the key factor of having that reset is because when it's down like so, as you can see, there's already like so much tension. There isn't any tension at all, and I can quite easily go up in and do whatever I've got to do. So again, you want to keep this. Do not pull this apart. It'll make your life a living hell if you lose any parts. You will have to purchase upgraded parts, unfortunately. So definitely keep this thing all together. Just put that away, and then what you're going to do is you're going to pull out your guidance here. Now again, so do not modify this, do not damage this, and do not lose this, because sometimes this Trident sear is actually made particularly for the high capper that you do have, and most times other sears won't work, unfortunately. So now what we're going to do is we're going to remove the thumb safeties. Now the easiest way to do that again is engage the hammer, so the hammer is the whole way back. You're going to lift both of these up at the same time, like so. You're going to pull your right side out, which is just happens to be this one. Now when taking this one off, you have to be very, very careful, because as you can see, there is a pin right there which is rested on the spring inside of here. Now if you take it off and you lose that spring, again, it is another part that you will have to purchase. 9 times out of 10, it isn't in your local country. Depending where you are, if you're in the US or Europe, then you're sweet. But if you're in Australia, then unfortunately you have to buy it from overseas. Not unless a local retailer just so happens to have a couple of spares or have in stock of the particular part that you need. So again, be very, very wary when taking this out, as you don't want to lose that spring. That's on the other side of this, which I will show you guys in a couple of seconds. So these are the tiny parts that I was just telling you guys what not to lose, especially that spring. Now we can go ahead and take off our beaver tail. Now what you'll be left with is obviously the lower itself. So now the next step is to go ahead, undo this little Phillips head. Generally, your grip screws will be a 3mm hex head. So once you have those taken out, go ahead and slide those off from each other. We're going to do the hammer first. To access this one, there is a little Phillips head. Pulling this part, make sure that when you take it off of the actual frame itself, that you be very vigilant, because there is a little spring just here, and sometimes they can be a little dicky to put back together, and then obviously you have other moving parts inside of here that you don't want to misplace, lose, or damage. So again, go and put that one to the side. Now again, with your actual frame itself, the only piece that you will be removing will be the hammer and strut itself. But to swap this one out, there is a tiny pin. So once done, it should look just like this, and it should be free flowing, as you can see. Now when putting the Phillips head screw back in, make sure you do it up nice and firm, that way it's not going to walk out on you. Alright, so now that this one's done, we'll go ahead and put it to the side. Now we're going to move on to the actual grip itself. Now to gain access to the trigger and the trigger bar, there is a mag release that you do have to pop out, as you can see here, but what it will require will be a small flathead to kind of go into the hole here, and what you're going to do is you're going to put in and you're going to twist trigger and trigger bar out. Now the next step is to punch out a pin, which is located just here. Again, this is a very, very small pin, so you're going to want to make sure that you don't just thrash it out. If you lose a pin, you're going to have to get another one, and you cannot track these things down easily, because no one's going to want to give up a trigger bar pin and lose out on themselves. So again, let's go ahead, let's punch this out. We'll put the new trigger on, and then we'll start assembling the actual high cover itself. That's what it looks like with the actual trigger on the trigger bar itself. So again, let's go and slap it into the grip. Sweet. So once you have your grip screws in just like so, now we're going to go ahead and build the back half of the grip. So again, easiest way to do the grip itself and install the magwell, again, make sure that the hammer is released, it isn't engaged, because then everything is going to be free flowing and a lot easier to put together. So we'll start off with our trident here. Now when installing it, you need to make sure that all of these pins line up correct. Otherwise, what you're going to have is you're going to have the hammer will slip off of this sear here. So once you have your trident sear all correct position, go ahead and grab your beaver tail. It'll kind of just slip in just like so, and then what you're going to do is grab your hammer regulator housing, we're going to push it on, grab our magwell, slide it on, then we're going to get in a pin, and we're pushing straight through, operating trigger. Now again, as I said before, we're going to chuck in our screw just to secure the frame to the grip a bit more. That is done. Now we are going to install the thumb safeties. So again, this time though, we're going to engage the hammer so everything is open and set back. So I have gone and pre-installed the 2 pins, which is it's a very simple task. Now you're going to get your left side of the thumb safety. Again, please make sure that the hammer is all the way back like so. Then again, make sure both parties are facing upwards, squeeze together, push down, and good to go. So that's the lower complete. The upper is complete. So again, let's go ahead and slide it on. And then rack it back to about half moon, which is the first notch on the slide, or the second notch I should say. Go ahead,